is this stupid thing not turning on? There we go. Brilliant. Hello everyone, welcome to the NHT podcast. I'm Bram, you might know me from NHT, or maybe you don't know me, maybe you have no idea who I am. That is a bit weird. You're probably watching the wrong podcast in that case. Um, anyway, let's get to business. What the fuck is this podcast thing? So this podcast thing is going to be about a few subjects. First of all, obviously NHT, right? It's going to be about NHT, and it's going to be about my personal life, and it's going to be about the personal lives and maybe stories of guests that I will be inviting onto the podcast. This episode 1, will have just me. There will be no guests, just me, giving you an introduction to the podcast, as I am right now, and I will be answering some of your questions, a little AMA. So in episode 2, we will be having Charlie as a guest. Episode 3, we will be having Jack, and after that we will have Mikey on episode 4. And episode 5, I'm not quite sure yet. We'll either have Coral or Sam. I'm not sure. I'll decide on that later. By the way, Coral or Sam, if you're watching this, maybe give me some advice. I don't know. So, I'm gonna be honest here. I didn't really prepare that well for this podcast, and really the only thing I have here is just a big list of questions that you guys have asked me, and I'm gonna answer them. Most of them, right? Some were a little bit meh, I just didn't quite know how to answer them. What else I'm gonna say is that I haven't thought about these questions. I've read them, but I haven't considered them at all. So this is all gonna be just fucking amateurish. Haven't thought about it. So, question 1 from Vin. What made you want to start this podcast? So, this podcast I've wanted to do, I think, since 2017. Mid 2017, I was like, okay, there needs to be a way for me to get information from me to the members of NHT. And that is partially the purpose of this podcast. But not entirely, right? It's also just because it's interesting. And I think that we can share ideas with I can share ideas with fellow members. We can talk about stories, and you, the viewer, might get a few laughs out of it. I don't know yet. We'll see. So yeah, that's why I made the podcast. So people can enjoy it, and they might get some ideas. Alright, question 2 is by Sam. What is it like being the creator of a community that has become this big? Honestly, it's really hard for me to answer that. And the main reason why is because I don't know what it's like not to be the creator of such a community, right? Because think about it. I've been a leader of this community for more than 2 years now. 2 years ago, I was 13, right? So I entered puberty, bam, leader of NHT. So really, I've never known what it's like to not have a group. But honestly, I'm gonna be real fucking honest here. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. My job, quote unquote job, it's more a hobby, but my job isn't that hard. It really isn't. But that's not to say that anyone could do it. In fact, I don't think that any person in NHT is really qualified to be Maester, apart from me. I know that sounds really selfish, but think about it. I don't think anyone else could do it. I think that there are some candidates which might have a pretty good chance, but I don't think anyone really has the ability to perform as well as me. And, there have been times where I thought, you know what, this is too dramatic, I can't do this, I'm gonna give up, I'm gonna resign, and I haven't. And that's because all in all, I like it. I like NHT a lot, and I like being Maester. And that's not because I'm a control freak or anything like that. I just generally and genuinely want to like help and support people, and I'm a friendly guy, I think, and I think that being maester, being the leader of something, is something I'm good at. I don't know why. Maybe I guess it just comes naturally for me. So I think being the creator of the group doesn't mean much to me, but I think being the leader feels good. Naturally, I like being the leader of something, and especially a group which I have shaped. That feels great, right? I can decide what this is, and that's not to say that you guys can't do that as well, but it generally does shape to be what I want, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy it. I think there's 50 of you now, which is crazy because we started out with 3, which became like 16, and now 30. No, not 30. Jeez, it's so fast I can't keep track. 50 people. Now we were at 60 a little while ago, and then I kicked 10 inactive people. So it's probably going to go down again. It's probably going to go down to maybe 30. So yeah. I don't want NHT to become too big. That's not what I want. So it's going to go down again. But yeah, being a creator doesn't mean anything to me, but being a leader is good. Great. Okay, next question. Question 3. This one was asked by Ryan and Caster. They both asked the same question because they're really curious about this one, especially Ryan. Who is my favorite member? I'm going to be honest about this one. I don't have a favorite member. I know that's disappointing to you all, but I think you're all lovely people. I do have favorites, right? I definitely do have some members which I like more, which really stand out. For example, Ryan, Mikey, Jack, Carl, Sam. Right, those are all members which I get along with really nicely. Now, I just want to say, if I didn't mention you there, that's fine, right? I'm still your really good friends. Those are just the people that I really get along with. You know, and I'd just like to add to that maybe Bonnie as well. I really get along with Bonnie. I really wish he'd stay in NHT. Holy shit, because I cooperate with him really nicely. We have like a dynamic, and yeah, it's just quite nice. Did I mention Jack? I'm not sure if I mentioned Jack, but Jack as well. We've been friends for really long. Yeah, so I don't have a favorite member, but I do have favorites. Okay, next question. If you could live in any city in the entire world, where would it be? I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of options, and I think it mostly depends on what country. And honestly, the country that I would like to be in is England. And, I have plans, as some of you may know. So maybe Lincoln, maybe Liverpool, somewhere up north, maybe, well, let's be honest, I don't want to move to London, right? I don't. Sorry, Kyle, but it's not, I don't like it, not a good city. No. So probably a city in Northern England. Yeah. Maybe the Midlands. I don't know. If I moved to the Midlands, then maybe people wouldn't notice my accent. Anyway, next question. What do I want to get out of doing this podcast? Again, well, I guess I already answered that in the first question, but in short, I want to entertain people, I want to inform people. That's what I want to do with this podcast. Alright, next question is by Charlie. What game are you looking forward to in the next upcoming months? Here's the thing. I play video games regularly as a hobby, but I am not the kind of person who really looks forward to games. There's 2 games. There's Victoria 3 and Mountain Blade 2. Those are 2 games that I really am looking forward to, but they're not going to come out within the next few months, right? They're going to be years and years in the future. I'm not the kind of guy that keeps track of that, right? I'm not. So, yeah. I am not looking forward to any game in the next few months. No. Alright, Ryan asks, why my cat? That is a good story. Why my cat? It basically started as a little bit of a joke. I had a girlfriend, and she meowed at me, right, as a little joke, and I meowed back, and she meowed back, and it went like this, and I was like, hey, that's kind of fun, I'm a kitty cat, and up until this day, 2 years later, I still meow, and I'm still a cat. Alright, Sam asks, what country would you want to be from if you had to choose? This is a really, really difficult question. Because honestly, I think I'd probably have to answer England. But there is something which really bothers me about being born in England. Two things in particular. First of all, although your education system is better, it's a little bit more conservative, right? It's a bit more, discipline, regimentation. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. And second of all, I'd be British, right? I would not have, my Dutch honesty, my Dutch bluntness, and I think those are things that I really like having. So I'd probably have to say England. I'd probably have to go with England. Yeah, England. But it's tough. It's tough to answer. Okay, so now our last question from Charlie again. Do we actually have a purpose as a species when on a scale of the universe we are microscopic? So here's the thing. I think that we don't have a purpose. I don't think so. There's, if you're religious, you might believe that we all have an individual meaning, right? For example, if you're a Christian, you might believe that your purpose is to, go to heaven, be good. If you're a Buddhist, you might think that we all have a collective, purpose to be good to each other. I'm not religious. I'm an atheist, and honestly, I don't think we have a meaning. And honestly, if you don't think you have a meaning, life becomes so much better, so much more free as well, because I don't have an obligation to do anything. I really don't. I could do whatever. I can do whatever I want. If I want to do something, I can do it, and that's great. And what I've chosen to do as an individual is make people happy, right? That's what I do. And, given the fact that I'm the maester of NHT, I think I do a pretty good job at that. And I think that I'm pretty funny as well. I make people laugh from time to time. And I think that that is my individual purpose, which I've chosen. But I think that we as a species do not have a purpose. You could say that we have a religious purpose, maybe an evolutionary purpose, right? You could say, well, our purpose is to, repopulate and spread through the universe and do all that. I don't really think so. I think that if we one day decided, fuck it, we're gonna stop, we're just gonna kill ourselves, fine by me. I just want to be happy. That's all, and I want to make other people happy. And yeah, that's that. I don't think that we as a species have a meaning, but I have an individual meaning, and that's just to make people happy by being honest, being funny, being, fraternal, treating your friends as family. I think that that is something which is really important. And I just want to, maybe sidetrack a little bit from your question and go into fraternity, what it really means to me. Fraternity is being happy together, and more so, treating your friends as family. I think it's really, really important to do this, because I've done it with a lot of NHT members, like for example Mikey. If I had treated Mikey just as a friend, he would not be in NHT, right? I would have just said, no, you are banned, you're kicked, you're not here anymore. But I saw, and I still see Mikey today as a friend. sorry, not as a friend, a family member. I see him as a family member. And that's why I've kept asking him to come back. And I've given him so many chances. And it's not just Mikey, right? It's Bonnie as well, and Mo, and Wolf, and Charlie, right? And I could go on, Jack as well, and Coral, and just everyone, right? So many people I've asked to come back, even if they fucked up. And you have. If you're listening to this, you have most likely fucked up. And that's okay. I am perfectly okay with that. Just don't do it again, right? If you accept that you fucked up and you you know, you tell me that you will try to not do it again and then you don't do it again, great. That's all I want, right? I don't want some kind of revenge. If you if you just want to stop doing the bad thing that you were doing, that's great. That's all I want. And the people I mentioned, Charlie, Mikey, Wolf, they've all become great people, really lovely people, and that's why they're in NHT, right? And really, that's what fraternity means. Forgiveness is a core value of mine. It's intrinsic to fraternity. And if fraternity isn't your thing, that's cool, that's fine. But if you want it to be, then be my guest. That's great. Yeah. So, on that bombshell, I think I will be ending the podcast here. That's all the material I had. The podcast has been running now for about 16 minutes and 42 seconds, 3 seconds, I'm not sure. We've answered some of the questions that you guys have asked, and I've described what this podcast will be, but honestly, we'll see, right? We'll see where people will take us. Now, next episode, Charlie will be joining us. We'll be talking about some real life events. We'll be probably talking about video games. We'll be talking about NHT, maybe the history of NHT. Talking about the future of NHT. And most importantly, perhaps if you'd like, we'll be answering questions again. So leave comments in the... Wait, no, this isn't a YouTube video. Leave questions. Yes, leave questions in the text channel. Yeah, in the text channel for podcast questions. Go do it. If you want, if you have a good question, go do it. If you have a bad question, then maybe do it. That's your own incentive. That's your own choice. So yeah, this is where I'm ending it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I really mean that. There's a lot of YouTubers, they're like, oh, I hope you enjoyed the video. But no, I genuinely mean it. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, go tell me. DM me on Discord. Be like, Bram, I really liked it. Or be like, Bram, I quite liked it. And that's fine. And hey, if you didn't like it, be like, hey, Bram, that sucked. Do it differently. And then tell me how to do it differently. Be critical. Or be not critical. Maybe compliment me. That's also okay. Or you can go to Mikey and be like, Mikey, I want you to tell Bram that he's a toxic leader and he needs to make a better podcast. That's fine. That's completely fine.